We are on a time crunch today. If you say anything about my hair, you're anti-black, okay? Period. What up, y'all? It's your girl, Naya Athena, and welcome back to my channel. We are on the final episode of the Season 1 Avatar: The Last Airbender live-action series. Let's get right into this episode, y'all. I was like, shooketh watching this last episode. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So, boom. We start off right on the Fire Nation boat. I can't even count on my freaking hand how many times we've seen this boat, like, as the first scene. Like, it's kind of funny. But we start off on the Fire Nation boat. Now, immediately, we see Team Avatar flying in on Appa, getting ready to attack this one boat and pretty much ambush them, right? So they start attacking. We see them holding their own. We see Katara out here bending or whatever. We see Aang out here fighting. We see them fighting together. We see Sokka handling the ship from the inside. You know, he jump off. He mess up their little operations or whatever. And they successfully take this ship down. Like, they did their big one, right? So clearly that was Sokka's plan because he's the planner of the group. So boom. They take the ship down and they're like, all right, cool. Like, how many more we got?
Who's next?
Just as they know it, they see literally like 500 more ships. Like above the clouds, they go through, they're like, okay, who next? And it's like literally a bunch of ships. And they like, oh, like that was cute, but that ain't gonna be enough. Right? So if y'all remember in the last episode, we literally left off with the Fire Nation getting ready to invade the Northern Water Tribe. So basically, they were trying to like help out in the way that they could, which was by ambushing the ships. But clearly, that's not going to work for all of these ships because it was a lot of them. Okay. So boom. After that little intro scene, we see the episode title, which is the final title, aka Legends. That's what it says. That's the episode title. And it was actually an interesting title. I didn't expect that, but I'm like, okay, cool. Then we go to Zuko and Iroh. Uncle Iroh, my bad. And we see them having a heated conversation because clearly Zuko is still in hiding, right? Nobody knows Zuko's alive right now. They think he died or whatever. So Iroh is like, don't go, like, da-da-da-da. And Zuko is pretty much like, look, I gotta do what I gotta do. This is my mission. You know, Zuko ain't listening. He don't never listen. When has he ever listened? Okay? He a fire sign. I get it. I'm like that too. So, he ends up leaving the ship again, pretty much to go look for Aang because everybody's in the Northern Water Tribe at this point. So just keep in mind, like, as I'm talking about all these people, except for like Philo or Ozai and Azula, because they're not there. But all of these people are in the same vicinity, right? So he ends up leaving. We see him like go off looking for Aang again, of course. They share a hug and a reminder. And like, I took note of this. I feel like it's important because it's like foreshadowing, like way further ahead in the story. But we hear Uncle Iroh say, like, remember your breath of fire. I'm going to leave it right there. Breath of fire. So then we go back to Team Avatar. And they're still in the Water Tribe because they went back to go warn them, like, y'all, it's actually a lot of people. Like, we can't do this by ourselves, pretty much. And they already know, like, the Northern Water Tribe already knows, like, that they're coming. So they're just like, you know what? They recognize that the Fire Nation has an advantage, but Katara's like walking away and Aang's like, where is you going? She like, I'm finna go even the odds. Okay? What Molly Brazy said? Let's even the odds. Okay. Anyway, y'all don't know nothing about that. So then we go to Admiral Zhao and he pretty much is like talking to Iroh again, like telling him like, I got something up my sleeve because he keeps saying he got something up his sleeve. We still don't know what it is. So he pretty much shares his plan with Uncle Iroh and he's like, yeah, we should just attack them head on with one single ship. Like, you know, and Uncle Iroh's like, what? Like, why would you do that? Like, this is a hard, mind you, Uncle Iroh has tried to get this same tribe before, I'm pretty sure. Or multiple people have tried to get the Northern Water Tribe. So this tactic is sounding kind of crazy. Like, why would you think that would work? But, you know, Admiral Zhao, he's still like, trust, like, I got this, right? So he ends up showing Uncle Iroh this war craft. And he's like, yeah, we gonna have one ship attacking head on, but we gonna have these in the sky. So we like, well, not we, but they like, oh, okay, you do got a little trick up your sleeve. Mind you, these aircrafts are the same aircrafts that we talked about in episode 6. long time ago. But this is when they were in the Earth Kingdom, and the Mechanist was making like Fire Nation aircrafts or whatever. So that's the aircraft that we're referring to right now, which is crazy. Like full circle. So then the attack begins on the Water Tribe, right? Obviously, it's getting serious. So Katara is telling Master Paku, like, I'm here to help. Like, come on. Like, and you know, Master Paku's still not trying to hear it. But Katara is like, bro, look what's going on right now. Like, you need everybody you can get. Like, just let me do this. And he's still like, I don't know, like, I don't know. Mind you, there's a whole line of benders that are still in training that are women and men that are like, we want to help too. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, I don't know. And then we finally tell the female healer, like the best healer or whatever. I guess you call her the female master bender of that village. I feel like that's what we can consider her. But she finally was like, Master Paku, get over yourself and let them help. And he was like, he really do get over himself. So I'm like, period. That's, you know, sometimes it just take the right woman to tell you to get over yourself and let's get the business. So period. That was a good thing. So now basically Katara and the smaller benders are joining the fight. Cool. They're helping from the inside, but they're still joining the fight. So then we go to Yue, and Yue is told to hide. Obviously, her dad, the chief, is like, you need to go hide, da da da. And she's like, no, like, I don't want to just sit around and hide. And he's like telling her, like, you are the future of this tribe. Like, if something happened to me, it's on you. So I need you to be safe, right? So she like, okay, whatever. So Sokka is like pretty much tasked with protecting Yue. So he's like, you need to make sure my daughter's safe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Han, the one that she didn't want to marry, he's finna be on the front lines. So, you know, everybody got their role. So Paku sends the younger, I don't want to say weaker, but I'll just say they in training because they're not necessarily, well, I guess they are weaker. We ain't gonna sugarcoat it. So Paku sends the younger and the weaker benders to Katara, and they're like, "Hey, Katara, like, what we want to do?" Katara like, "What?" And he like, "Well, Paku told us to come to you." So basically, he put her in a position to lead these benders, which is crazy because he was talking so much mess about her in the beginning of episode 7. So it's like, okay. So they like, thank you, Master Katara. We like, okay, like Katara's a master. Period. Like the sound of that. So before you know it. I'm talking so fast, y'all, but like I gotta get this video out. Like I do not want to make y'all wait. So before you know it, Zhao makes it known that it's not just any full moon. Mind you, they're attacking on a full moon, which is crazy in itself because waterbenders draw their power from the moon. But he's like, yeah, it's not just any full moon, it's an ice moon. And basically, this is the type of moon that pretty much is when the veil between the spirit world and the real world is very, very thin. Like the spiritual veil is very thin. So he's talking to Iroh as they're up in this warcraft, like going over, like, because clearly nobody's looking up, worried about them because they're too busy fighting the ships on the ground. So he's pretty much like explaining to Iroh like how he learned of an oasis that lies within the depths of the Northern Water Tribe, and that's where the spirits are. Like pretty much that's where the moon spirit and the ocean spirit reside together because these spirits are yin and yang, right? So both of these spirits are what created the waterbenders pretty much. He's like, yeah, so what I'm gonna do, he's pretty much telling Iroh, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tamper with the spirit world. Like I'm basically finna, you know, and Iroh is like, oh, you finna do what? Like, excuse me? Like you didn't tell me all this? No, you're not. Like pretty much, no, you're not. And after that little conversation, we jump back to Team Avatar and Avatar Karuk, who was the Avatar from the Northern Water Tribe in the past, who spent his life fighting spirits. He ends up appearing to Aang. And he's like, listen, like he's warning Aang, like, listen, my knife is here and I can sense it and it don't mean nothing good. So then we jump back to the conversation with Iroh and Zhao is like, yeah, I'm finna kill the moon. And evidently he is finna throw the world out of balance because if you kill Yin and you only leave Yang, that's chaos. If you kill Yang and you only leave Yin, that's chaos. And so he's like telling Iroh, like, I'm gonna kill the moon. And that's pretty much what Karuk is telling Aang too. Like, my knife is here, so that means that he's planning something bad, aka he's finna kill one of these spirits, and it's not good. So Aang gets a little forewarning, which is good. Boom. We see all this pandemonium, we see all this chaos, they still fighting. Everything is still going up because he ain't do it yet. He just looking for the spirit. He don't know what a spirit is or what they look like. So we see stuff crumbling, we see people running, we see the Northern Water Tribe like retreating a little bit, and we even see Momo save somebody, which is crazy because Momo is a little lemur, you know, but he ends up saving somebody, but he does get trampled in the crossfire. So this obviously, and this is while Sokka and Yue are like helping people to find their way. So Sokka's like, oh shoot, like Momo, like, what happened to Momo? No, not Momo. And Yue is like, I got an idea. So they take Momo and they find the oasis. That's pretty much where Yue was supposed to, like Sokka and Yue were going to keep her safe because that's the oasis. They take him there and they end up healing. Yue literally heals Momo with the waters of the oasis, which is crazy. So Momo's fine. Good job, Momo, for staying alive. So then we jump to Zuko, who swims up through some frozen cave. He clearly found his way in. You know, Zuko's swift. He's swift. So he found his way into the kingdom secretly, and he's obviously finna be on the prowl for Aang. So then we see Sokka and Yue, and they see the war balloon that Iroh and Zhao are like in while they're looking for the oasis, and they're like, oh, mind you, they're in the oasis. So they're like, oh shoot, like, and Yue's like, what is that? And Sokka's pretty much explaining to her what it is because he knows what it is because he helped design it. Like, he helped the mechanist design it when they was in, was that Omashu? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was Omashu. So yeah, he helped design it. So he's explaining to her like what it is, but he can tell like it's not a war one, but it's still, you know, it got the job done clearly because they're finna be in the oasis. So as soon as they land, like as they land the war balloon, Zhao asks Iroh to help him find the spirit because he knows that Iroh is spiritual. And he pretty much is like, that's where you come in. You finna help me find this spirit. Like, that's evidently what he was using Iroh for this whole time. But Iroh found out in real time. So Iroh is like, no, like, why would I help you kill a spirit? Like, Iroh understands the spiritual realm. He has a respect for the spiritual realm, regardless of him being in the Fire Nation. So he's like, no, like, are you dumb? Like, why would I help you? What are we talking about? And he refuses, but he submits because Zhao is like, if you don't help me find this, I'm gonna burn this whole thing down. And, you know, either way, it's gonna be bad. So he like, oh my God. Like, so he pretty much walking with him, trying to find it or whatever. And Yue and Sokka are hiding because, yeah, they're like, oh shoot, like they here. So then we see Zuko show up again. It's always like Katara and Aang, and then Zuko just show up out of nowhere, like being a nuisance. So we see Zuko show up, and they getting ready to fight, but Katara like, I got this, Aang. Go do what you gotta do. Go be the Avatar. Avatar like, don't hurt him now. And and Zuko like, oh, I ain't gonna hurt him. And he like, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to the Master Katara right here. So boom, Zuko versus Katara part 2. Okay, I love seeing them fight. Water and fire, like it's so invigorating. So they start fighting. They start off strong. We see them bending skills on both ends. Okay, Katara holding her own, and Zuko notices how much better she is since the last time they fought. So Zuko is like, oh, like you must have found a master. And so as they're fighting, Katara like, I'm the master. I'm big dog. What are you talking about? Like it was very exciting to see. I'm not gonna hold you because I love seeing, like, Katara had the best character development. Katara, well, maybe not the best, but she had some. All of these characters have like really good character development, but Katara's just came so fast, so it's like the best one to watch for real. They're pretty much fighting. Boom. So that's like going on in the midst of all this because she has to hold him off because he just, you know what I'm saying? He in the way. So then Aang catches up with Yue and Sokka, and they're like still hiding, but they're like trying to devise a plan because now this dude is in the oasis. Like he's gonna find the spirits. And sure enough, Zhao finds the spirits. And he's like, oh, it's the fishes. It's yin and yang because the fishes are, you know, swimming in circle, yin and yang. So he's like, that's them right there. So Iroh is trying to plead with Zhao, like, this is going to cause chaos. Like, even Fire Lord Ozai would not like you doing this. And Zhao was like, I don't care. Like, Ozai don't know the vision. Like, Zhao is pretty much like At this point, he don't care. He want to be Fire Lord Ozai. Like, he ain't follow. Like, he was never following Ozai's word. Like, he a rat. So why he trying to call Zuko a traitor, bro? You're a traitor. You want to be like Zuko for real, for real. That's the real tea. So he's like, bro, like, I was like, no, don't do this. And Zhao pretty much is like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. So he captures the fish, he takes the fish out the water and put it in the bag. So as soon as he does that, obviously the moon turns red, because the moon is like, whoa, what is you doing? Why is you taking me out my element? So everything is red. And this is like one of those moments where Aang at this point, he jumps out. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hear me out. Like, let's just all think about this for a second. He put the staff down. He said, Zhao, understand what you're doing right now. Like, this is not a game. And he's trying to reason with him. And even Iroh is like, oh my God. Like, he's trying to stop him also. But in the nick of time, literally, Iroh actually like firebends to try to stop Zhao. But in the nick of time, Zhao ends up stabbing the fish, the moon spirit, aka, with the knife, and killing the moon. So this causes immediate chaos. And Yue immediately feels it, because remember, Yue is a part of the moon. Like, the moon gave her life when she was sick as a child. So Yue feels it, and all the waterbenders feel it. Katara's steady fighting Zuko. She can't even fight no more, because that's where they draw their power from. And it's like, it's all of a sudden it's gone, which is crazy, crazy. So the firebenders end up destroying the temple, which is the biggest temple in the Northern Water Tribe, the safest temple where Avatar Karuk was. Like, they literally destroy the temple, and everyone within it literally is like forced to fall back, pretty much, because at this point the moon is gone. Like, they can't fight anymore. So the Northern Water Tribe is forced to fight by hand-to-hand combat. Luckily, they do specialize in that, because there are warriors there, like Sokka, you know what I'm saying, warriors. So they're fighting. They're still fighting, but they can't bend no more. So it's kind of like they're at a disadvantage for sure. So Iroh is so angry that he tries to fight Zhao also. He's like, how dare you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because Iroh is always going to have a respect for the spirit. Like, he know about that. Like, he's above the Fire Nation's one-sided thinking. So while he's trying to fight Zhao, Yue is like, there is no hope. Like, that's it. She pretty much gave up. And Aang is like, no, there is hope, because I'm the Avatar. And at this moment, it shows like a montage of all the avatars he's spoken to so far, telling him, like, you have to make a sacrifice. You have to put yourself last, da 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 da. So he's like, this is the moment where I need to make an avatar decision and sacrifice myself. So that's exactly what he does. He enters the avatar state on reflex, which is crazy, because he still don't know how to control that. But the fact that he did it in that moment lets you know he was using his heart. And so when he enters the avatar state, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go in this pond. He goes into the oasis. I'm sorry, not the pond. I wrote pond, but it's really the oasis. He goes into this oasis, and he pretty much gives himself to the other spirit. So the moon spirit is gone, but the ocean spirit is still there. The yin is still there. So he gives himself to the ocean spirit, and pretty much the ocean spirit is able to take a physical form now, and pretty much is a vengeful spirit at this point, because you just took Yang. Like, what you mean? So this thing forms into a huge water monster. Think Godzilla, but it's made of water. And Aang is literally the heart of it, because he's given himself to that spirit to take that form. And so at this point, people are saying, like, that ain't Aang no more. Like, that's the vengeful spirit. So that was the sacrifice, right? Obviously, the ocean spirit is not playing no games. He started going crazy, taking everybody out. Because you're not finna sit up here and take my main one and think I'm not finna get my get backs. Now I got a physical form, I'm finna get my get backs. So that's exactly what the ocean spirit is doing, getting his get backs. And Iroh ends up seeing Zuko in the midst of all of that. And Zuko sees the ocean spirit, and he like, what is that? Like, he's shook. And Iroh is telling him, like, what it is, because everybody is shook at this point. But the benders, like the Northern Water Tribe, they know. So they let them work. They let them cook. They just take a dub bow and they let them cook. It's a sight. It's definitely a sight For real. Zuko and Iroh have to retreat at this point. They gotta get away because they still low-key on, like, Zuko's literally low-key on the run. As they're retreating, they see Zhao. So Zuko, like, you know what? Zuko gets angry and he just attacks Zhao. Like, I don't even care no more that he think I'm dead, whatever. So Zhao was like, oh, I thought you was dead. Like, you a traitor. And he like, you a coward. And now it's Zuko versus Zhao. Okay. So Zuko is mad. Like, you could see the anger in his bending. So he's doing his big one. Zhao reveals to Zuko, like, pretty much, because Zhao losing. Like, Zhao's a coward, so he's losing. Because Zuko like, you ruined my whole mission, da-da-da-da-da. He's like, man, your mission was a sham. Fire Lord Ozai been playing with you. He just had you out here running around because he wanted it to be motivation for Azula. So Zuko doesn't want to believe him, but he like, are you serious? So Zuko, he get mad. He it looked like he's about to strike Zhao, but obviously he doesn't do that. He just ends up like releasing a little bit of anger in his bending. And Zhao he finally ends up admitting that he was working with Azula and that Azula helped him to pretty much discover the plan that he was going to do, which was kill the moon. She pretty much helped him, and we all kind of, like, Iroh figured this, like, ain't no way you was doing this by yourself, but yeah, Azula was the one behind it, for real. And he ends up revealing that Azula also gave away his identity with the blue spirit, like the blue masked demon or whatever, because the swords that he used, like, Azula obviously knows her brother's sword, so she was like, yeah, that's him. So that's how Zhao knew that was him, and, you know, so Zuko is, like, pissed because he feel like the carpet just got ripped from up under him, and Zuko is, like, defeated. Like, mentally, he's done, and he starts to walk away before Zhao can like try to sneak him, which he was getting ready to do. But of course, Iroh got his back all the time. So Iroh like pretty much whipped him up and like threw him on the ground like, Zhao, get your ass out of here. And they end up, you know, having to get on because it's getting real at this point. So we see the Ocean Spirit and they start really, the Ocean Spirit is still, mind you, it's a bunch of Fire Nation ships. The Ocean Spirit is eating them fireballs, like literally just taking back the tribe for real, and as they should. Like, what? And everybody keeps saying that Aang is lost because Aang gave his body to the Ocean Spirit. And so they're like, Aang is done. Like, that's it, you know, pretty much. Like, he ain't never coming back because of the lack of balance. Like, the Moon Spirit is dead at this point. So this Vengeful Spirit is going to be walking the earth forever now because he's mad. Like, what? So Yue ends up saying thank you to Sokka. And she freezes him, like freezes his feet in place so that he can't chase her. And she's like, I know what I gotta do. So at this moment, this is the iconic moment in season 1 where Yue is like, I'm gonna give my life that the Moon Spirit gave me, I'm gonna give it back to the moon because, yeah. So she enters the Oasis and she pretty much becomes the moon. And so now the moon is restored. And Sokka is distraught because that was his girl. Like, his girl just turned into the moon. Like, what? So... and he literally had to watch it because she, like, froze him in place. But before she does that, she literally tells him, like, why do you think these spirits are so willing to take physical forms? And she's saying it's worth the risk to be alive. And I think that was a beautiful, like, message, like, about the spirits and, like, pretty much, like, valuing life. Because a lot of us don't value our lives until it's done, until it's gone, or until we have a near-death experience. So I think that was a really beautiful message within Yue becoming the moon, considering her life was spared when the moon gave her a piece of it when she was a child. That was really beautiful. And so at that point, the Ocean Spirit recognizes that the moon is back and it ends up returning back as well. And it's no longer vengeful because, you know, the moon is back. And Katara is pretty much talking to Aang and like trying to bring him back as well, like from the spirit world, which she obviously does. And so we have Aang back and we got the moon back. So period, everybody back in their place. And honestly, the aftermath is just a lot of destruction, of course. Like, they were losing for a hot second. They thought they was going to lose. So it was a lot of destruction and despair. Han ends up dying, of course. I kind of figured he was going to die when they said be on the front lines. Like, yeah, he ends up dying. And Aang, you know, he do his special fly away in grief because every time he sees destruction of this sort, like, it just reminds him of his own, you know, nation that was wiped out. So he's like, oh my gosh, like he's feeling the weight of it again. And the chief is like talking to Sokka, like, I understand why my daughter did what she did. Like, she's always been her own person. And Sokka's like, I had to watch her. Like, I just didn't do nothing about it. Everybody just love to blame themselves, child. And he was like, listen, you don't have to be a warrior to be a hero, and you did everything that you were supposed to do, and we have the moon back because of my daughter. And everybody, like, pretty much is, like, consoling each other, because at the end of the day, they won. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of loss, but they won the war. So Master Paku speaks to Katara, and he pretty much is, like, expressing gratitude to her and respect for her, which is something he was not doing at first. So that he's come a long way in this little episode, in these last 2 episodes. He's definitely come a long way. And he literally offers her a place, like, to be a trainer to the upcoming benders. But Katara is like, babe, I have a greater mission. I'm with Team Avatar. I got to do my big one, you know? And he calls her a master. Like, he's like, okay, Master Katara. And he gives her another Water Tribe talisman, which is so cool. So now she has her mother's, Water Tribe necklace that she always wears, and she has another one from Master Paku. So she basically has the respect of the Southern and the Northern Water Tribe. Like, she's really that girl. Then we see Zuko and Iroh boating away, and Zuko is faced with the questions. Like, Iroh's like, what do you want to do next? And Zuko, at this point, he's like, I'm tired. Like, Zuko is washed out, and Iroh is like, okay, then rest. Like, you know, like, he's finally, like, at the point where he's willing to rest instead of always being up and moving. So that's exactly what they decide that they're going to do as they escape on their little boat. Obviously, Aang is still hard on himself and thinking he was the cause because he failed the first time when his nation was wiped out. He goes back to that thinking a lot. But Sokka and Katara are like, look, you need to focus on the future and not the past. Like, you know, and Aang reflects, like, he remembers what Gyatso said to him before he was gone from the spirit world, which is basically to let go of the past so that you can have a better future. And it all kind of made sense to him in that moment. And then Team Avatar begins to plan their next move. They're like, all right, cool. What's next? So then we see Fire Lord Ozai back at the Fire Nation, and we see that he hears the news of the battle and that the Avatar is still alive and that Zuko was among all of that, and just he's pretty much getting an update of everything that's happened. But he's not as mad as people thought that he would be. They're like, oh, okay, well, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, why are you not mad? And he basically was like, well, Mashu was the real target. So while they were doing all that in the Northern Water Tribe, he has Azula taking over Omashu, and they actually do end up taking over Omashu and capturing King Bumi. So when they tell him that Zuko was amongst the battle, he literally says, like, well, if he's alive, cool. If he not, oh well. Like, sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. And it's crazy because it's like, bro. But obviously he's not gonna care because he's still got Azula in his back pocket. So he's like, I'm not stunting Zuko, which is crazy. He's a terrible father. So meanwhile, Azula is literally in Omashu, like, ruling Omashu at this point because they've taken it over, which is crazy. So then that's pretty much the end of the episode. However, there is a after scene, a cliffhanger scene, if you will. And this is pretty much Fire Lord Ozai is in his little library with the big globe, and they're showing him an event. And this event is called The Return of Sozin's Comet. It's literally a freaking flying meteor that is going to come to their planet, I guess. And he's like, oh yeah, like, obviously this is gonna work in the Fire Lord's freaking favor. So that's it. That's the end of the episode, y'all. Like, it ends just like that. And season 2 and season 3 are in the works. So we probably not gonna get it till next year, but I'm very excited. Like, it was really good. It was some things that, like, I was like, but it was also some things where I'm like, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. We finally made it to the end. That was 8 episodes. I don't know why I dragged it out this long, but I love doing these recaps. So I'm definitely going to have to look into some more shows and maybe live action stuff that we can go over next week. So with that being said, I hope you guys leave a like, share, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.